So I'm going to get started and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Angela Horn. I'm CEO and co-founder of MediaScript. Ron and I founded that company in 2009. I also started another company, Wholesome Medicinals, that is a THC-free CBD company last year during the pandemic. I don't know why I did that, but it seemed good at the time.
You needed to relax.
Yeah, I needed to relax, yes. And then, as you can see, I've been very involved in WeBank. I've been WBE Advocate of the Year and Supplier of the Year, and I've also served on WeBank's National Forum from 2014 to 18.
Hi, I'm Jill Fry with Cummins Facility Services. I've been a woman-owned company since about 15 years. Time just travels by so fast it's hard to keep up. But CFS, my company, was founded in 1972. And I've been with that company, and we're almost 50 years old next year, so hoo-hoo, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I became owner in 1994, so we have been certified for about 23 years now, if I can do the math. I was a Weebie Star in 2018. That was fantastic. It's so fun to be the Weebie Star, and we've got lots of amazing stars out there. It's been so fun to watch them. And then I went through the Goldman Sachs program. It's a 10,000 small businesses in 2015. That was eye-opening, hard, and amazing. It made me the woman I am today. I'm involved in tons of organizations through WeBank. I wouldn't have it any other way. And then I just received the award for the top WBE CEO of 2021. So thank you to ORV and everyone at here in Ohio River Valley for all that you do to support us. I really appreciate it.
Yes, yes. And you've also been involved in other organizations in your industry as well.
Yeah,
yes.
yes. I'm involved in a lot of organizations. I'm involved YPO, BSCA, ISSA. I just founded a new trade association called Facility Data Standards. So we set global standards for the facilities. That was about 2 or 3 years ago. So anyway.
Yes, You're busy all the time. So I'm going to share a little bit about Lanice. Lanice supports Ohio Health's efforts in supplier diversity. She is their supplier diversity manager and strategic sourcing. And she has a wealth of knowledge in supplier diversity as well. She has been in that space for about 15 years, and she's been manager of Battelle's Office Supplier Diversity, as well as worked for the DAS and procurement programs manager for the state of Ohio. So we look forward. She should be here any moment, and she just got a little delayed.
Yeah, she's a rock star.
She is. Yeah, I know. I love her.
We're so happy to have her. She's on the ORV board as well. Mm-hmm. So excited for that. So this is the first time that I get to meet Lanice today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right now.
Oh, good.
It's all been virtual, but
yeah,
anyway.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So a little housekeeping. If you want to ask a question during the webinar, please do that at any time. As you can see, there is a little balloon icon. If you click on that, the little box there will come up that says ask a question, and just type away. It'll come directly to my phone, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. But please feel free at any time to send those because there is a little delay in getting those emails to me. So as you send them, then we'll have something to actually start on as we wait for other questions to come in.
Please ask questions. Please, we're here to help.
Yes. So today's agenda, we're going to go through the buyer persona and meet the buyer, WeBank Link and supplier portals, which are always fun to do. Yeah. Your company's website, the things that supplier diversity people and the internal stakeholders will be looking at for you as a prospective vendor, and then customer relationship management tools like the CRMs and the different applications that are out there. So I think Ron may have to now adjust us as far as where he wants us to stand, but here is Lanice.
Hi, good morning.
Nothing like just to go right into the fire,
I know, right? No problem, thanks.
So would you like to share a little bit about yourself before we get started here?
Yes. So again, my name is Lanice Smith. I am the manager of supplier diversity at Ohio Health. And I've been in supplier diversity for a little over 15 years in a number of different industries, and I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
We're excited you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I made it. So thank you for your flexibility.
Yes. So we, this is always what's fun. The show must go on.
Yes,
At
yes.
any time.
Oh, come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Yeah,
We're
we're all
having a
here.
round table here.
So for those of you that don't know, a buyer persona is basically a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer. I know, I'm sure, and you do this at Cummins and your staff as well, since you're such a larger organization than I am. But you know, it's sort of a representation of your perfect client. And oftentimes you can figure that perfect client out by the case studies of the current clients that you serve. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think that is a pretty good definition.
Right. That just helps you get prepared to meet your buyer, right? What is your buyer representing, the company the buyer is representing? But let's just use Ohio Health for an example.
Right.
Okay, obviously that's medical, right? So how can you maybe make a persona of Lanice? Well, you would know that she's medical, and from her background, she's been in government, right, with Battelle, with, you know, some other government entities, so she knows government. So come to Lanice with questions about government or how you can do business with government, and now at Ohio Health, right? So she would be a wealth of knowledge for those things, but it's just kind of doing that background to understand who your client is, what that business is, and making sure that you can have the qualifications for that. So as an Ohio Health facility, if I would talk about facilities, I would make sure that my employees would know how to clean a medical facility, right? That we have experience in medical facilities. You know, things like that. So don't talk about retail maybe, or L brands, or, I mean, you could talk about L brands, but L brands and medical kind of don't go hand in hand, right? So how would you tell that story so then Lanice would be interested in you?
Right.
Yeah, you know, actually that makes a lot of sense. I never even thought about it from that perspective. I mean, I didn't, because that's the same thing that we look for when we're looking for suppliers, right? We're looking for suppliers that match what we do and that have transferable skills.
Right.
And so I never thought about it from a persona standpoint, but it makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
So you guys just need to go out and stalk Lanice. No, don't.
Yeah.
But just make sure you know who you're talking to, and,
Right.
and try to show some knowledge. Oh, I saw that, you know, you were at DAS for a couple years in your career, right? Let them know that, you know, you're interested in them as a person and where they've been, and you know, now that they're at Ohio Health, and, you know, how they can help you or you can help them. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what, from a supplier diversity perspective, that actually works out really well, because I love meeting businesses that understand and know the business better than I do, because, you know, I'm one person, we're 30,000
right.
employees, and we have all these various business lines and different things going on.
Right.
And so for someone to say, hey, I do this, I see you guys do this, I noticed that you have a trend, this is what's going on in the industry, this is how I can help
Yep.
you, it makes it so much easier, because I don't have to do the internal research.
Yep.
Right.
Because obviously I don't know every department, I don't know what they're doing, I'm fairly new to medical.
Yeah.
And it helps me
Yeah.
out, and it makes me helping them so much easier to do.
They're connecting the dots.
Yes.
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 Lanice, I need you to help me.
Yes.
This is my end goal.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is my ideal client. Can you find them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Or do you know who that is? Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Within the Ohio Health
Yes.
system.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I think if you write case studies about your clients, that helps you as well, because you can tell the challenge that they had and then how you supported that challenge and made it better. And then when you give it to a person like Lanice, they may know exactly the department by reading that of where they should connect you. So we sort of went through all of that, all my little bubbles there. You know, again, it's your client base, your demographics and firmographics. You know, make sure that you already know that industry. If you have that foothold in that industry, it makes it so much easier. And then also ask your clients for testimonials and referrals.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? Lanice knows other people in the medical field. I know it's a shock.
Yes.
So she will be checking up on
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And other supply diversity professionals altogether.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the supplier diversity space is very small,
Yep.
and they know each other, and they actually feed off of one another. If they need something and they don't necessarily have a vendor already in that space, more than likely they're going to pick up a phone and call someone like Lanice or someone over at Honda or L Brands or things like that to
Right.
find out who they could, potentially partner with.
Right.
So also, this is another good data sheet, I think, on the buyer personas as a sample. You're going to talk to a marketing coordinator differently than you're going to talk to an account manager, as well as you're going to talk to a president and owner of a company. Their industry experience is different, their activities are different, their challenges are different, and their goals are different, as you can see there, in their needs. So those are something to consider as you're also making those connections within organizations of, how you're going to want to talk to those people. So, okay, so now you've done your homework on some of that, and you're going to do a company presentation / meeting. So some of the things that you need to think about is creating a capabilities presentation and talk about your capacity, your geographic footprint, your current marketplace and the industries that you serve, as well as those case studies. Case studies are valuable tools to use.
So for me, the capability statements are so important. They usually are just a one-page 8x10, the front of it, and you just cram as much information on that is easy to read as possible. So for me, we go over that every year and we change it. Your NACIS codes are super, super, super important. So make sure you know all of your NACIS codes. And what I did is in the bottom right-hand corner is I just put the NACIS codes that pertain to me, because there's going to be more than one.
Yeah.
And that's lingo for the supplier diversities. So you need to figure out their lingo, right? And that means figuring out what codes you are for your business. But those capabilities, like Angela was saying, your footprint, where you are, where you can service, and don't just go in there and say, I can do everything. Because you can't. You want to do something very, very well, right? That's going to be your niche, right? What are you awesome at? And then just put that in your capability statement and just drive that home. That's how you make a name for yourself and make a good reputation for yourself and your company.
Right. And I love the thought about the case studies, because from a supply diversity standpoint, I lack resources. A lot of times we're usually one person, so it's like a one-man operation. And I've had a supplier that actually wrote a case study for me on some work that they did for us, and it was easy for me to market that out. I'm like, do you mind if I share it? They're like, no, I don't. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And so, and it all came up to me asking them. I said, hey, I want to do a case study. I know you guys did some stuff. I want to do a nice little write-up. And he said, oh, I can do that for you. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
He turned it around in like 72 hours, which is a lot less time than it would have taken me.
Right.
And then it was in a great format where I could actually share that with other people, so I can show our internal users of some of the success stories that are happening in other business units with the supplier that they weren't aware of.
Right.
Yes.
And so that was it was a great gift for me. So.
And what you guys are going to find is your supplier diversity person in the facility is going to be your champion. So you've got to convince them of why you're fantastic, because they've got to convince the whole company, right? That's their job.
We do.
And so if you make their job easier, giving them the case studies, the capabilities, these are the NACIS codes that we perform well in, you're making it easy for Lanice, right?
Yeah.
And for all the other Lanices in the world.
Yeah. And don't be offended. Like, we are trying to make sure that you are your best, and so that when you get that one meeting that you shine, right?
Knock it out of the park.
Exactly. And so sometimes we're going to give you that critical feedback where people think that we're blocking them from the opportunity.
Right.
And we understand that internally it's timing. They have short attention spans. They have a lot of stuff going on, especially with COVID and all this other world that we live in right now. We want to make sure that opportunity is the best opportunity in that moment. So don't be offended if I say don't talk about that, right? Because that is going to complicate things. We're here to talk about this, and I want you to talk about this because this is the immediate need that they have or the interest that they have. And if you come in, build that relationship, knock it out the park with that, then what they'll do is invite you to the table to actually solve other problems for them.
Right, and you have to realize, I think, too, in a company, the Ohio Health Size and Honda and Toyotas and all those, they have multi-year contracts in a lot of spaces. So, you know, you could come in when they just signed a 5-year contract.
Right.
So you've now got to build for about 3 years that relationship with that internal stakeholder, and they're going to only give you a small slice of the pie initially to start out with, and then as you prove yourself, you'll get those bigger pieces of the pie. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. But that's actually good though. It's excellent.
Yes.
Because it gives you the one thing you don't want to do, and I don't want to do, is put someone in there in a large contract that's high visibility, high risk, and they don't understand our system. They don't have enough relationships to help sustain if there's a problem, and then they fail. Right.
Yes.
So if you start slow and build up to the point where now you have a group of cheerleaders, you have people at the table that know your work and can speak for you just in case there is a mistake or anything.
Right.
You're building momentum to the point that when that larger contract comes, they're like, Angela,
Yes.
We need you.
we need you.
Yeah.
Come over
You
here.
fix
So,
this problem,
yes,
you fix this problem, and now you get to fix this
Yes.
problem.
Exactly. And I think
exactly.
you two have grown really well with Ohio.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, it just dawned on me, like, wait a minute, these are two of my suppliers right here. Yeah, and you've grown, they've grown really well, and they've become great problem solvers, and that is how you've grown. It's
Right.
the fact that people started coming to you with their problems, and you turned yourselves from suppliers to partners.
Right.
In the supply
Thank you.
supply chain within
That's really
Ohio
nice for you
Health.
to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
So
right here.
we would have to do that too. So no matter what size you are,
Yeah.
you never stop solving problems. So
Yeah.
thank
No.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I mean,
saying
because
that.
you didn't start out with your
No,
footprint.
no,
No.
no. It's,
No.
Hey, do this well, and then we'll take you over
Yeah.
here. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
exactly right. She's
Yeah.
nailing it, guys. So
Yeah.
listen to her.
Yeah, definitely,
Kinda
definitely.
knows what she's
Yeah,
talking
she
about.
kind of knows what she's talking about.
Yes. So now let's talk about some company presence when you're actually marketing. Things that maybe the supplier diversity people and their internal stakeholders will actually look at. Or, you know, they're going to look at your company presence on social media and LinkedIn, your website, your capability statement, whether or not you have a video, your email address. This is so important. If you don't do anything else, go buy a domain and have a real email address. Do not use Google, Hotmail, Gmail, any of those things, because AOL, none of that. If you are a company trying to call on a larger company, they're going to pay attention to that, most definitely. And again, having those case studies. But you know, websites are cheaper nowadays. You can easily get a one-page landing site that can incorporate all of these items on there for probably under $1,000. And so you really need to have that presence, because if your competitor has those items and you don't, guess who a Lanice or an internal stakeholder is going to feel more comfortable with.
Right. Just remember, guys, you're putting your best foot forward. How do you put your best foot forward? For me, it's always, I'd like to look and dress well. I have my picture on my business card and on my email, because the supplier diversities, when we were going in person, they would see about, at a regional event, they would probably see about 1,000 people a day. How do you remember one person from 1,000 people a day? Well, I've got the blue jacket on, I've got long blonde hair, and I've got a scarf on that has a tiger on it, right? So I want to stand out, because I want people to remember me, right? And if I've got my own email address, my own website, if I got all these tools, they're going to remember, supplier diversity, right? They're going to remember who you are. So make sure to put that best foot forward and make it a show. You're on show and you're on stage.
Yeah.
Give it your best, right?
Right. Yeah.
I agree with that. And then in the domain, not just the visibility of it, but it's the functionality of
Yep.
it too, because you don't know what the IT infrastructure is for the company that you're working for.
Yeah.
During COVID, I could not get a lot of emails,
Yeah.
right? And then it automatically filtered out emails with Yahoo, Gmail, because of the cyber attacks, right? When I was in the federal government space, those things are risk. So we could not they were filtered out basically,
Right.
and through spam and all this other kind of stuff. And so I can't log on to certain things
Right.
because of the security risks that are associated with it. So it is not always just what it looks like to have a Gmail. Sometimes it is the domain that is, it's easier for me to take a MediaScript domain and get that whitelisted so that it can come through my server and you have no problems,
Right.
than it is for me to take a Gmail and do that. Because if they whitelist Gmail, that means
Oh.
Google Docs, all these other things
Right.
that pose security risks to our system, and we
Yeah.
have PHI and all these other things. So you have to think about the industry that you're doing business with too, because a lot of those things are go to spam. And so I may not get your email.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I may not get it until I get the fourth one that says, this is the fourth email that I sent you on this topic. And then by that time, I'm irritated when I open that up because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm one person. You're one of 100,000 businesses.
Right.
And I did not intentionally
Right.
overlook your email.
Right.
It just may have got caught up in spam, or it may have been a bad day where I was putting out fires.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
And
Yeah.
you have to remember too, there's 17,000, almost 17,000 WBEs. There is, I don't know how many veteran-owned businesses. There's another set of MBEs. There's also LGBTQ plus. So there is, it's not just you. There are probably 100,000 of you. And then some industries are more prevalent than others. If you're in staffing and promotional products, unfortunately, that is a very high, area concentration of people in that space in those 4 other supplier diversity realms. Janitorial's probably, medium.
Yeah.
And there's probably video and website people like me, probably medium too.
Yeah.
Then there's some that are very niche. So, you're going to have better luck at trying to get a hold of someone. But I can attest, my emails sometimes don't make it to Lanice. Sometimes they do. Sometimes if it's important, I'll text. So,
Yeah.
It's, so cybersecurity is another risk. So that's a whole other set of issues that you have to deal with in addition to not having live events right now.
Right.
Yeah. So meet the buyer. I think it's important when you do meet the buyer, keep your presentation just to a couple of minutes, maybe 5 or 6 slides. Try to remember that, things that you can remember on your hand are a lot easier than 2 hands. So if you can just, give an overview in about 5 or 6 slides, that's perfect. And then once you do your presentation, just stop and listen. Let them talk and start writing and, talk about the positioning and opportunities that are there, depending on the space, like, janitorial services and facility services like Jill's in. Those are multi-year contracts. So ask those questions. Have
When
you
is your
just signed a
contract
contract?
up? Right.
Yeah.
When is your contract up? When is your next one? When are you going to start your RFP process?
Correct.
Is it all under one? Is it decentralized? Is it centralized? Right?
Yeah.
Like these are, but wait for them to talk.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what are their next steps? How do they prefer to communicate? Is it through email or phone or some other way? So find out from them because in the case of Ohio Health, there's 30,000 employees at Ohio and there's one Lanice. So,
She's powerful. She's mighty.
yes.
I try my best, but yeah, it is one. And I agree with everything that you said. So I have nothing to add.
Yes. And then your follow-up, always refer to your notes, personalize those emails and phone calls. Write a thank you note. Again, that's a little old school, and right now it could be a little difficult if people are not back in their buildings. But and then just sort of track your metrics in your CRMs.
Right.
So,
And the follow-up is key, right? Because I can't tell you how many people I've told about opportunities and I've told them to contact me. And I will say, I tend to be very transparent and blunt a lot. And so, I'm working on that. But what I do is I will tell someone, contact me, and when you contact me, make sure you ask me about this, or make sure you put this in the email, because that's the reminder for me, prompt me what I need to do.
Right.
But what ends up happening is they never email back, right?
Yeah.
So I've been working on a solution forever for the last week, and I have contacted so many people, and none of those suppliers are contacting me
Oh.
back. And I have 5 requesters that are waiting on this, and no one has contacted me back. Like, I can escort them into our procurement
Wow.
process, our supply chain, but no one has contacted me back. So I actually had to contact one of our current diverse suppliers and ask them could they fill the need. And this is not what they do on a regular basis, but they said, we'll help you, but we don't want to do this long term.
oh wow.
right? And so, but I have contacted so many suppliers, and no one is.
Bless your soul.
I mean, I've LinkedIn them. I've tried them multiple ways.
This is not typical, guys. This is not typical at all. Okay? Supplier diversities do not hunt you down. Okay? So
Yeah, because we lack time. But what I don't want to do is, while I'm trying to find a diverse supplier, somebody's like, well, I could just call such and such. And I'm like, no, because it's a
got the perfect one.
non-diverse solution.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a non-diverse solution, and I don't want to lose this opportunity
Right.
For a diverse supplier. It was a perfect opportunity for a new supplier to get
Oh my gosh.
introduced. And they're not replying.
yeah.
That's
Right.
sad.
Yeah, so what I like to do is when I meet with the supplier diversity, I'll say, okay, today, for us, we're having Catch the Wave September the 8th?
13th.
13th? Okay, 13th to the 16th, okay? So on the 16th, Meet the Buyer Day, Lanice is going to probably go through at least 200, 300 people virtually on that day, just on that day. So if I wanted to work with Lanice, I would say, hey, Lanice, tomorrow's Friday, and you've worked your tail off this week. I'm not going to email you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, you're going to get 500 of the people you met all this week. And you're going to go through 500 of those emails. That's going to take you probably a week. So I'm going to email you on October the 3rd.
Okay.
And I hope that's through the week. I hope I'm getting yelled at over here on stage.
Yeah. Face the camera.
So October the 3rd, I'm going to send you an email from Jill Fry.
Right.
Yep.
So it's going to be in your inbox, and it's going to say, you met with me on September 16th, or something like that in the subject line, right? Blue jacket, crazy scarf, long hair. She's going to know exactly who I am because we had this conversation October 3rd. She's going to say, I am going to get an email today from Jill Fry, right? And if she doesn't, that's my bad, right? But that's how I've done it. So it's in my CRM then as well that I need to email Lanice. So just a tip that I love to do that gets me on the ball.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and always give them a moment to decompress.
yes.
Right.
Right, and but I actually think Meet the Buyer, I think I saw an email yesterday, it's like the 23rd of September
Yeah, I
or
think it was
something.
pushed back,
It was
yeah.
pushed back. There's
Oh,
like some
sorry.
industry event.
Right.
I only know because I only saw the email yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Sorry
Well,
to
I
take
mean,
so
but
long.
the good thing about that, I will say, is put a tip is to put the event name, hopefully in the subject line if you can, because a lot of times I'm like, I know I met a supplier.
Yep.
I can't remember who it was. I remember your face,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the business name, right?
Right.
But I remember what you do.
Yep.
So I'm going to go, but I'm like, I know exactly where I was, though. I
Right.
was sitting at the fifth table at this event, at this conference, and so I'll go through and I'll do keyword searches, and I might go, WeBank or ORV or whatever, and see what pops up in my email to see where I met that person.
Right.
Because a lot of times people don't go and register in our portal.
yes, that's all another, we're getting to that. We're getting
They
to that.
don't register in the portal. So now I have to go to look through and see if they're actually there. But I love those emails that say, you know what, we met here and just want to let you know we are already in your portal. We went in and registered.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
So
Bingo.
now I know. But even when you do the portal registration, I know I'm going.
Yeah.
But put where you met the person,
Right.
where
Yes.
you met the supplier. It's great because those are, again, another tool for us to identify you because we can go in and do those keyword searches.
Yeah, and she's brilliant. We know that. But, I mean, she's not going to remember everybody,
No.
every conversation in every company that she meets. So
Yes.
the more you can help Lanice, the more she's going to help you.
Yes, and we talked about this last week, Shelly and I. And we both did it. We both have in our email signature, we have our picture and our company name, and then little bullets of what we do and our WeBank certification
Yep.
logo right there. It's all right there. So it's in my email signature. Every email I send out, it's there.
Yep.
So those types of things help.
Take a note.
Yes.
Take a note.
Yes. They do.
So let's talk a little bit about WeBank Link. WeBank Link can be a beast in and of itself. It can be a wealth of knowledge if you let yourself learn it, or if you don't have time to learn it, your employees use it as a tool, and you can set those other employees up as a user, and they don't have to see all your private financial information as a business owner. They will just have privileges to go look for corporate members as well as other WBEs for projects. Make sure that you also note you cannot use it as a marketing tool to WBEs to WBE. That is part of the affidavit that you sign Every year when you do your recertification, you will not use it to market to other WBEs. Again, there's almost 17,000, and if every single one of us did that and marketed it to each other, you can imagine what our inboxes will be.
No.
So,
Yeah, but be careful how you market to
Yes.
corporate, because I get a lot of emails that say, I was just certified with WeBank, and I have no idea who these people are. Never met them in my life. They just got certified, and they don't even know if their industry fits what I do, or it's just a blanket email. So be careful how you market to the corporations as well.
yes. Yeah, and we're going to talk about the homework piece here in a little bit. So here is a WeBank Link dashboard. As you can see, that's what it looks like when you initially go in. The one tool that I like to use is that search button. Certified vendors are the WBEs, and then the members are the corporate members. So if you click on certified vendors, this is what the screen will look like. And this is probably even a tool that you've used where you can go in. The tool that I specifically like, or the section, is the business description. If I'm looking to partner with someone that maybe has a different service that that needs to complement what I do, but I don't actually do that product or service, then I will write in the business description and maybe narrow it down to the state of Ohio and see if I can find another WBE in the state of Ohio that I don't know. That I could potentially partner with on a project. And then you just hit search and it'll field those for you. And then if it doesn't, then open it up a little wider to Kentucky, West Virginia, those types of things. Members, that is all the corporate members. I believe there's about 700 right now. So that's the screenshot of theirs. You can also search by a specific member up in that top corner up there. And I did Toyota, for example. This is a good one to show. There is their snapshot up on the left side, and then if you were to scroll down, I just put it all on one slide here. Their memberships. So you can see they're part of WeBank National, and then they're part of 7 RPOs.
Wow.
So they have headquarters or maybe facilities or manufacturing plants in those other RPOs, and they're supporting those as well. And with it, it has every supplier diversity person and their contact information of who you would want to reach out to for that. So that's how you would utilize WeBank Link in a sort of a small glance. Help and support is another one to go through, especially if you're newly certified. And the one that you would really want to hone in on are the training classes. And as you can see, I did this 2 days ago. So this is sort of the classes that are opening up, how to utilize WeBank Link itself, as well as WBE applicant training, all that type of stuff. They'll go through this a little bit more in depth, but it's a great tool to have. Another site that I would highly suggest if you're certified is to use WeBank's website and then hover over the programs section. One area that's great right now as far as happening is women owned in retail. Lowe's is actually doing a class right now the entire month of September, and if you attend all 5 sessions, you go into a registration for a $500 Lowe's gift card.
Oh.
But Target launched it back in August, and then Macy's had one last month. Lowe's is doing a 5 one-hour sessions throughout the month of September. But those are the types of programs and happening now that you would want to, look into, whether it's women in retail or your service-based, like, our other businesses are. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Supplier diversity portals. As a WBE. Fun. Anyone that you're looking to do business with, after you've done your homework and know that maybe it's an industry fit, you'll want to register. The biggest thing that I will say out of this is use an Excel spreadsheet, because predominantly all the supplier diversity portals have very similar questions. You may run across different questions, but if you have that Excel spreadsheet and you put that question in there and then the answer, you can just do copy paste, and it's so much faster.
Yeah.
And then proofread it, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please proofread it, because you know what? There's times where I get it and I'll see it and it has typos or whatnot, and so I'm a little bit more forgiving, and so what I'll do is contact them and say, hey, I need you to make this correction, because I don't want to spend the time editing. I used to edit. I used to edit them before
are
I
like
forward
the
them.
best.
I did. I used to edit them before I forward them on because I'm like, this is irking my soul. But the thing is that I know you get one chance.
Right.
Right. You get that one chance. And not only are you a reflection of, you know, your business branding, your reflection of me. So if I send you over and you have tons of typos, misspellings and all that stuff, then it reflects upon me and they're like, why are you sending me this supplier? Right. And it makes it harder the next time they ask me for another supplier because they're like, she'll just send us whatever. But no, I want them to know that I'm going to send them the best of the best.
Yep.
Right. So be careful with that. Be very thoughtful about what you put in there. Be able to do what you say that you can do when you in there. Right. Be honest about your limitations. I am okay with knowing that you're not doing X, Y, and Z. I love when people say this is my sweet spot.
Right.
And if you have something that falls in this, but those jack of all trades are dangerous to us. They're high risk for anyone. And I don't want to listen to everything that you can do. I want to hear what you can do really, really well.
And what you're passionate about.
Yes, and what you're passionate about.
What gets you out of bed every morning,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And in my opinion, these portals, when you get, so in my experience, when I started going to the WBE shows, the first question out of Supplier Diversity's mouth when I met them was, have you filled out your portal?
Yeah.
First question out of the gate. And a lot of times I had to say no until I got that, hey, I want to be prepared. And I was like, yes, I've got my information in your portal. So you could come back with, I do have my information in your portal. If I send you an email in a couple of weeks, could we go over my portal information and maybe you could make sure it looks right and that, you know, it looks good for what you need it for?
I like that.
Oh, good!
Oh, yes, I like that.
High five you.
I might change my whole process. I like that. You know what? Because the portal, a lot of times it is incomplete, right?
Right.
And I
Yes.
know everything that you can do. So what I'll say is we internally try to train our internal buyers to use the portal, right? There's a ROI, there's a significant investment that we put into those portal. And the reason why we do it is because we're one person, right? So we train them to go into the portal. So my job is to go out and identify the Jills of the world to register in the portal so that when my internal buyers have a need, they're not saying I can't find a supplier. I'm like, no, I found a supplier and they're registered.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So to know that you filled that out,
Right.
the beauty of the portal, which a lot of people don't see from the flip end, is that they're getting more sophisticated now. So I can pull it up on my phone while I'm out at a conference and I can put notes in there.
Oh.
You can't see my notes.
Like she had a blue jacket on and a scarf.
And a scarf.
The guy with the green shirt on or whatever. Like I can put notes. I can say they're ready for X, Y, and Z, or they're a future supplier but not quite ready yet, or something like that. Like we could put notes on. So that's one of the reasons why we want you in that portal. It also helps us use with our ROI, right? So I can calculate the fact that I am traveling so much, that I'm investing in sponsorship. I can say when I went to this event, I actually met with 100 people. These people register in the portal. These are the industries that they're in. And then I can tie back that interaction to when you actually get your first contract or your first RFP. And then I can flip out a report to my to my executives, to my board, and say, listen, look at the return on investment on the dollars that you're giving me for the outreach that I'm doing.
Right.
Look at what we did. This supplier came in. I met them on this day. They came in, got this contract. This is the savings that they offered us. And by the way, she started out with one building. Look how many buildings she's grown to because she saw so many problems for us. And it helps tell the story and the value of supplier diversity, and not only that, of the organization investing in supplier diversity. So it gets dangerous at these times. When they don't see the ROI, they start eliminating supplier diversity jobs. They start removing resources. They start moving those budget dollars over to something else because we haven't been able to articulate the value of supplier diversity and the return on investment and benefit that the organization is getting.
Yeah, the data.
So
Data
is key.
Is key.
It really is.
And then
that was beautiful. I love that.
Yes, that was a
great.
good one. And then this is the supplier diversity perspective. It gives the certification type, because if you're an MWBE, that is 2 certifications. Don't be afraid to put your sales revenue, and please do not lie about that, and your service area. Again, it's all about your sweet spot. When we started with Ohio Health, we just focused in e-learning. But in the 12 years we've been in business, we've grown into other capabilities, and with that, we've gotten, a contract here, a project there. So in those other areas, we don't look to have a whole slice of the pie and do everything in all of our capabilities with them. We really like to, be very specialized and focused in what we do and do that well.
Right.
And I'll do one little tweak. NAICS codes. There's also certain industry that use UNSBSC
Yes.
codes. So also sometimes you want to make sure you have both of those on there.
On there, yeah. Your website, again, it is all about the, looking at it from a supplier diversity standpoint, and then as the internal stakeholders. I will never forget sitting in one of the Columbus luncheons, listening to a supplier diversity person talk about she was trying to get a supplier in who promised that they could do everything, and it was on their website and it had all the information, and she took them into their internal stakeholder and they had a meeting, and he walked into the plant and knew within a second that the machine that he said could do what they needed it to do was not going to be the capability of that. So you really want to make sure what's on your website is really your capabilities, because again, she may only get one shot to bring in that internal stakeholder, and then after that they're going to say, well, no, all diverse suppliers are in that category, and I'm not going to do business with them. I'm not going to have another person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I usually tell people to give them what they want. Right. So the key thing is we're buyers. We're not experts in those particular areas. So give me what I want, and then once you have me, tell me what I need. Right. And so because sometimes you have to demonstrate that you can do the job that they're asking for. And then once you become a team player and you're a partner, then you can say, well, you know what, that might not be the best way to do it. I have a way that can save you or save you time, or there's a new technology out there. Because sometimes we don't know. We don't know what's out there. We don't know the key things, but we know what we have currently. Right. And so if you try to sell me something that I don't feel like I need at this point in time, you don't know why I asked you for it. Right? Because a lot of times we have aging equipment that we're asking for it that way because it fits our equipment. And we don't know what the expense is to actually retrofit or to upgrade or whatever. So give us what we ask for, not what you feel like what we need.
Exactly.
And then when you become a partner and you're sitting at the table, then you can help us advance, streamline, upgrade, whatever it is that we need to do.
And you need separate subject experts. You want subject experts to come to you and tell you about their business, right? What are you guys good at? Now, you can't be good at everything. I mean, there's a lot of you out there. I'm sure that you are. But, find that niche of what you excel at. Again, what wakes you up in the morning. I like to say find 5 to 10 companies. When you're going to nationals, I find 5 to 10 companies I want to do business with. At nationals, there's hundreds, if not thousands of companies. I'm picking 10, right? If I get 5 RFPs, I'm ecstatic. So please don't go in there thinking that you guys can get 20 RFPs from Catch the Wave, right? Be happy if you get attention from 1 or 2 or 3 companies. So just keep your expectations real. But and be your experts, subject experts.
And then also know that, there may already be a diverse supplier in that space. So it's going to be very difficult if you're in a specific industry, and depending on how many other diverse suppliers are in that space, of whether or not you're actually going to ever be able to get in there, and just keep that, and don't take offense to it, because you know what? Lenise may move in 5 years from Ohio Health to somewhere else, and maybe she doesn't have a person in that category, and then you've kept that friendship, because I know we have MediaScript-wise, I've gotten clients by how I responded when they said no. And that is very important, and it wasn't a no necessarily like a hard no. It's like, no, maybe we're not going to go forward with this right now. And I'm like, okay, when you are, just reach back out and let me know. And, I'll see you at events, and we're going to still say hi and communicate with one another. And then, honestly, it was a WBE that I was getting ready to, I had submitted a proposal for. And when I gave her that response, about 2 weeks later, she reached back out and she said, you know what, I've been thinking about this, and I know I want to go ahead and go forward with the project. And so, your response to that can definitely play into that. So let's talk a little bit about CRMs. You can use various platforms. You can use things just as easy as an Excel spreadsheet. You know, just make sure you have their name, their contact information, what industries they're in. You know, it still is able to sort. You can use another platform called Insightly. It's a good one for smaller companies that are just starting out, to Salesforce and all those other things. But you can really get a lot of information from those CRMs. I'm sure you guys use one at Cummins.
Absolutely. And we've got like everybody on it, right?
Yes.
So we have to have one that everybody can get into and talk with, and you know,
Yeah.
so it's very diverse. It's very good that it gets down to the nits and gritties, because I'll want to receive reports of when's the last time you sent this out, you know,
Right.
or just recently, you know, right now in this pandemic, it's crazy. It's hard to get business, right? It's hard to do business. So how do you change yourself up? So, you know, we went back out the last 3 or 4 years to the bids that went out and that we might not have won, right? And we just circle back around and say, hey, how's it going? Anything new over there? Right? So you can get that from your CRM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you point? I want to know if you point.
Yes. So if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, these are just some of the things to, you know, keep in as far as the tabs. You can have your first contact, the value of the sale, industry served, company name, all that last touch follow up, and then, you know, put the priority there. You know, if someone is going to tell you that they just put a contract out, you know, then the priority is definitely a 1. As far as you know that the contract is probably 3 to 5 years out, then change your priority. So definitely.
Yeah, I think actually to that point, I would say that what worked really well for me was I had a supplier actually come to me with a profile.
Oh.
Right? So they already had a profile of us. And they literally said, hey, and it looks like probably was a printout from the CRM.
Yeah.
And they said, here, this is what we've done with you guys. We haven't had any like contracts, but we've done a couple POs.
Right.
These are our contacts, and these are the things that we've done. And they had it like in a nice little profile sheet or whatever, and like, oh, this is the area that we think we really would love to work with you. And so the fact that they knew who their customer was, they had all that information, they had it readily available, and just told me that they were prepared, right? That they understood and they knew what they were doing, and they knew the value of relationships. And it wasn't, you know, contentious like, why didn't I get this? Why haven't I? I've been in business for 50 years and you've never sent me any business. Why can't I get through the door? It was a very direct conversation, very specific, and they knew what they wanted from me when they came to the table, which was great. It's great. I mean, like we said, try and make the person's life easier. We really are. Sometimes we don't seem like it. You know, sometimes there's times where I can't laugh and joke as much as I would like to, and it's not because, to me, any disrespect. You just don't know what fire. I'm sitting at this table and I have 5 fires back at the office. We're still people, right? We're just, remember that we're still humans, and we have things going on in our personal life and our work life, and we have work pressures and all that other kind of stuff. And so if we don't look like we're our best self at that point in time, don't take it personal.
Right. Yeah.
So I've done a lot of these guys, and this is the best one I've ever been in, I've ever done. Like the information you've given today has been point on.
Yes.
Amazing, and you're just vulnerable. You're being very open, transparent, and you guys out there, she's amazing. Re-listen to this. Like, there's things that I need to do in my company that we're not doing, right? That she's just helped us with. So this one's a really good one. So
thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate that.
I know we're not done yet, but
I really do appreciate that, because you know we try to act like we know it all. And we want to be professional, and then we're sitting out there and we're representing our organization. So you definitely want, you want to have the right jacket on and all this other kind of stuff, because we're still trying to justify our own jobs and justify what we're in. And we believe in supplier diversity, but unfortunately there are people that maybe haven't bought into it yet, right?
Yeah.
So we're dealing with all those barriers. And so I often tell people, I had to tell someone, be very blunt, like, it will take me, you want to go to lunch and do a pitch for me. You are trying to block a half an hour, hour on my time to do this. It's going to take me 20 minutes to get out this building, because everybody's going to talk to me, wave at me, and I'm on the 5th floor, right? And then it's going to take me another 30 minutes. So that's 2 hours out my day to meet with one supplier. Would you rather me do that, Or would you prefer me to be here trying to uncover RFP opportunities and strengthen our language and remove barriers that will allow you to actually to be able to get business?
Yeah.
How do you want me to use my time?
Yeah.
Right? And so as much as I love to eat and I love to socialize, but I still want to see people win, right? And when
Absolutely.
you do good, I do good, and I am competitive, and I like to do
Right.
well.
Tell
in
you
my
she's a
job.
rock star. She's awesome.
I like to do
Fantastic.
well, so I want people to be successful, and I want to create the space for people to be successful. And there's tons of us out there. You know, I meet with the supply diversity professionals from Cleveland Clinic, OSU, Metro Health, Premier, and Nationwide Children's. We meet on a regular basis.
I told you all they talked.
They do.
We talk we meet on a regular basis outside any organization, conference, or anything like that. We have a standing meeting where we meet on a regular basis to talk about what's going on in our industry. How can we collaborate?
Yep.
How can we, pool our resources together to drive more, business for our local diverse suppliers, right? So healthcare, there's tons of people outside California and all these different spaces that are trying to do business here. But we get the numbers, but we're getting them from diverse suppliers that are outside of the state, right? So how do we create more distribution centers and economic scale here in Ohio? We're doing the work behind the scenes, guys. And so we're working hard on your behalf, and I am pleased and I love being in this industry because although we're seen as competitors, there's no competition in supplier diversity.
Yeah.
You have people that truly want to see the businesses succeed, and so we're here for it.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank
it's beautiful.
you.
So we do have a question that came in. Well, you get a copy of the presentation and speaker contact. So the link that you have today, you can use that for on demand. Am I able to give out your contact information?
Yeah, basically it's just supply diversity at ohiohealth.com. And if you go on the ohiohealth.com website, there's all the contact information. And it does say supply diversity, but it does come directly to me. So I know people think it's a black hole, but it really is not. It's just the alternate email address for me because my email fills up really fast.
And then if you're not getting into Lanice's, just know that healthcare is one industry that cybersecurity is very much cracked down on.
Yes.
There are threats going on all the time, and even my personal emails to Lanice sometimes go into that hole.
Yes.
So, you just don't think that it's something to do with her. She really probably did not get your email.
Yeah.
And it's not just healthcare. There's, automotive, all these other industries out there, food, any of those, the same thing is happening in their organizations too.
Right. So another way to do it is you can actually reach out to the person on LinkedIn and just shoot me a message and say, I sent you an email, just want to confirm that you received it. Right.
That's a great
so
idea.
That's it. I'll say yes or no, whatever. Or it'll prompt me and I can go back into that thing and see if I can find it by searching by your name. Because especially if I don't recognize the business name, if Angela Horn pops up, I know who you are, right? But there may be businesses out there that you have a representative that switched and they're trying to reach me and introduce themselves, but I don't recognize the name. And because of the crazy world we're in, I don't know to search for that name, right? So just send a pleasant, hey, just following up on the email that I sent, or don't be afraid to send an email again, right? But just give us a little bit of grace. That's all I ask for. A little bit of grace.
Just keep trying. And guys, know that once you become certified, you're in it for the long haul, right? I've been in here for 23 years. It's the first 5 years, my controller was like, why are we spending money on this? I'm like, it's going to come, it's going to come, it's going to come. So you're building, right? So please don't think that you're going to have something overnight, because it doesn't come overnight. But you've got to build that reputation. You've got to build that relationship. It's just a building block. So I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is.
But you know what? Funny story about that is that when I first started at Ohio Health, they were building the supplier diversity program. The first time I met Angela, she said, I've been sending in my WBE certificate for 5 years, and every time I send it in, they say, what is this, and why are you sending it to me? And she's like, one day someone will care.
That's what I used to say.
And she just kept sending it in.
Yeah.
And so, and I thought it was so funny. So when I did my data scrub, I'm like, oh wow, we already have some diverse suppliers. And her certificate was just sitting there.
Bravo. Updated.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, and they went back. I will tell you, we signed a master services agreement with them last year, which should have been done apparently when we started. And so they went back and recalculated every bit of spend
Oh, good.
the entire 10 years that we have been with them, and they counted for every penny of that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, but I mean, but the rest of the business it had not caught up yet,
Yes.
right? But she knew the value of it,
Right.
and she kept sending it in.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as a supplier, you have to take those moments to educate your internal people because they don't all know. I still meet people at Ohio Health that say, I didn't know we had a supply diversity program. That is so cool. I'm like, where have you been? But this is not their day job. This
No.
is my job. You know, it's like they're saving patients' lives
Right.
and doing all this other stuff, and sometimes they have
Yeah.
blinders on, and so it's not always important.
So another question we got was, what is the worst phone call that you may get at Ohio Health? Is it when a client doesn't respond or a potential vendor?
The worst phone call.
When you were talking.
That's the hard one. When I was talking
Got
about
5
what?
minutes.
Are we over? Okay.
No, we're good. We got about 5 minutes.
When I was talking about, was it related to something?
When you were talking about like not being, you were calling that one vendor, the potential vendor, and then they're not responding.
Oh, okay. The worst phone call I've gotten, honestly, is the complaint calls, right?
Oh.
And so I've gotten, I've had to spend my days where I tell someone no, and my no is really a not yet, right? So sometimes I can't tell you all the back end story because I still represent this organization. So I've had people call legal and make complaints on me. Or I've had, or say, you know, I've been trying to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm a woman-owned or minority-owned business, and you guys get federal funding and this and that. So then I have to deal with the legal threat of that and put that, you know, deal with that risk. And then I've had people that say, well, I just want to let you know that I sent a message to your VP and your this and that, whatever. And I'm like, well, I already know because they forward all those emails to me already. And I am in the process of writing a politically correct statement that can go through legal into our marketing so I can forward it out to you. Something that in court can be, can stand up in court. So now I have to stop everything that I'm doing and concentrate on this message, recapping what happened, how did we get here, why did this fire, why did it escalate, documenting all this stuff, and then responding to that person. And now that's my whole day because that person wanted to escalate something because I didn't give them the answer that they wanted right then and there.
And then do you
hard.
think that, I mean, I don't think I could do that as a potential supplier, but then will that message also then make its way maybe to other industries and other supplier diversity people, you know, like when they maybe check up on that person or that potential of supplier? So yeah. I think it's, again, it goes back to your response when you get the no.
Right. It's branding. It's branding.
Yes.
Because you think about it, if Adrian Taylor at Premier asked me what my experience is, and I'm like,
No comment.
well, you know, and I try not to talk bad because there are personality classes, right? So I know that there may not be suppliers that jive well with certain personalities or whatever. We may not always be really close, but I try not to talk bad about a supplier, but the fact if I don't say anything also says something too.
Well, and all you have to say is, you know, that's illegal right now.
Yeah.
Lips are sealed. That's
Bad.
that's nothing you want to hear.
No. That's too bad.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We get
yeah.
the complaints and all that stuff. And
So just again, go back to
Best foot forward.
yes, and how you receive the no.
Yeah.
Because again, oftentimes you have to think about, they can't always say what's going on
Right.
behind the scenes, and you know, if you receive the no well, then when the opportunity actually comes up,
Right.
yeah,
Could be a different time.
yeah. So just always watch that component. Oh, I would not have thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff happening that we don't tell you guys.
There's all kinds of great things back here.
Yeah.
Good
So
question. Thank you.
Yes, we're almost out. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions, but we may try to wrap up here. I know I've enjoyed myself today with you guys, and I thank you so much for coming and talking and sharing with us. And just know that these are sort of our opinions and our experiences, and we hope that you learn a little bit from those experiences, and that you will go out and put your best foot forward and be memorable and all that stuff that goes with it. So,
great. And thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
You're a rock star. I'm so excited I got to
Yes,
talk to
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So good luck out there, everybody. Be rock stars yourself. Go. I love to hear Roar. We're having a watch party at the zoo.
Yes.
You guys are more than welcome to come out. There's going to be some supplier diversity there. Huntington's coming. Ohio Health is coming.
Ohio Health
Might
will be
be
there.
this little rock star might be there.
Yes.
There's a baby elephant named Frederick. Freddie.
Yes.
Oh, that's a cute name.
Is
Yes.
it cute?
Yes.
Little baby elephant. We can see the zoo's closed, so please come to the watch party.
Yes.
And we can't wait to see you. Catch the
And,
wave.
and the tigers.
Oh, the tigers, the bears, no my.
And when they are going to do like they're going to feed a tiger while we're there.
Wow.
They're going to bring in
really?
one of the keepers, and
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's going to be super fun.
Yes.
So,
See you guys there.
yeah, yay! All
Bye.
right, take care. Bye.
Bye.